Who would like to start with a mantra, with a traditional way?
I would like to do that, Acharya.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Om Sharada Sharadambo Javadana Vadanambuje Sarvada Sarvadasmakam Sannidhim Sannizim Kriyat Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryanta Vande Guru Paramparam.
All right. So we will continue again a little bit as an introduction to this path of Advaita Vedanta. I would like to listen and to respond to your questions and anything that you need to clarify. I would like this meeting, this online satsanga, to be always a kind of a spiritual dialogue, a real satsanga, and not a monologue. So please feel free and do not hesitate to ask questions, to add how you understand, how is your understanding, and to, of course, to clarify whatever you need. So I can say some phrases, some 1-2 paragraphs, and then I will ask you to tell me if everything is correctly understood. And if you need any clarification, I will be very happy to respond. So, what is the benefit of studying Advaita Vedanta and practicing as well Advaita Vedanta? Well, first of all, it is about experiencing permanently happiness, peace, and bliss. If we will do a very deep scrutiny, we will find out that the worldly things cannot offer to us permanent happiness, bliss, and peace. No matter what it is, either it is a relationship, a love relationship, or a career, or an accomplishment, or the pursuing of objects that we want to buy, all of these things, they are doomed to fail to offer to us permanent happiness, peace, and bliss. So Advaita Vedanta is promising that what we are really searching to find in the worldly things, in the so-called outside environment, it is impossible to find. The only way to find infinite peace, happiness, and bliss is in our true self, our true infinite nature. So for Advaita Vedanta, our true nature is Brahman Satchitananda. Brahman meaning infinite awareness, consciousness. Satchitananda is the way that it appears and the way that it reveals itself, which is Sat, meaning infinite truth and infinite existence. Chit, which means infinite consciousness, awareness, and Ananda, which means infinite peace, happiness, and bliss. So according to Advaita Vedanta, our true nature is Brahman Satchitananda. Now, this is, of course, something that you should not accept with blind faith. In Advaita Vedanta, we are using a lot of tools, a lot of processing, a lot of ways to confirm the teachings of Advaita Vedanta and to assimilate and to see whether these teachings are true or not. So there is no need to accept something and to believe with blind faith, but you are very welcome to give it a try, to listen to the teachings, clarify your doubts, asking questions, and then practicing the assimilation of these teachings in your daily life and in yourself. So according to Advaita Vedanta, we are using 3 levels. First level is Sravanam, which means listening or accepting the study and teachings from a competent guru, a guru who is belonging to a living holy lineage, a living holy tradition, and who is capable of transferring this blessing, this current of blessings, to the aspirant, to the spiritual seeker. So the guru, first of all, what means? Gu, according to Sanskritam, or Sanskrit, which is the wrong, of course, word. Sanskritam, for Sanskritam, Gu means darkness, ignorance, and Ru means the one who can remove darkness and ignorance. So if at any point, at any time, a guru, a person is able to remove at least a small part of darkness or ignorance in ourselves, we can consider that he's a real guru. Now, of course, there are levels of gurus. There are gurus who are amazingly able and capable to remove a lot of darkness, a lot of ignorance, and there are others who are able to remove a little bit and not so quickly, not so fast. Anyways, a guru can be even a kid who is saying to us one day something that it is awesome, and we say, wow, that was very, very, very important, what this kid was saying. A guru can be also nature, can be the sun. The sun is one of the greatest gurus. Why? Because the guru is removing darkness. But how the sun is removing darkness in nature, and how the sun is able to offer so freely and so incredibly out of its infinite capability, so much light and the life force prana. So of course the sun is not only what we see as this ball of light. The sun is also an intelligent being, an apparent intelligent being, where in Sanatana Dharma we worship. So one of the greatest gurus is the sun. Another sun, another real giver of the truth, of removing darkness and ignorance, is the Sastram, the sacred scriptures. So we call them pramana, which means a means of getting knowledge. So Advaita Vedanta or Advaita Vedanta path or Jnana Yoga, the yoga of self-knowledge, is a kind of pramana, is a kind of a revealer, a giver of self-knowledge. So by following a guru, a competent guru, we can sit down close to him, which means Satsanga, Sat, truth, real truth, and Sang, which means Sangha, which means I'm sitting close to the guru. So I'm receiving this listening of the teachings. I'm studying the teachings close to the Guru. This is called Sravanam. Then I go to the level of Mananam, which is clarifying my questions and my doubts. And then we have the Nididhyasana level, or Vedantic Meditation, where I am in the process of not listening anymore teachings, but I am in the process of assimilating the teachings, applying the teachings in myself and in my daily life. All this process is according to the Sastram, the sacred scriptures, and according to the holy Guru Parampara, which means the living, holy lineage or tradition of Sanatana Dharma, and in particular, the tradition, the holy Guru Parampara of Adi Shankaracharya. So Adi Shankaracharya didn't invent Advaita Vedanta, but he was the greatest proponent of Advaita Vedanta. He gave us the methodology and the tools and the ways to assimilate in better ways these wonderful liberating teachings. So as an introduction, I want to do now a break and asking you to let me know if there is something that you need a clarification, or you need to ask something, or you need just to add something and to share with the rest of us. So Andrew can give the word to each and everyone who wishes to speak, and the rest, please close the microphone. So if there are no there is no need for clarification or a question, I can go ahead, I can continue. So in Advaita Vedanta, we don't like, as I said before, we don't prefer, better to say, the blind faith. We use the Sastram, we use the teachings, we use Bhasyams, which means the commentaries of great sages like Adi Shankaracharya and others, and we try to fully understand and assimilate the teachings, and of course to apply in ourselves and in our daily life. So Advaita Vedanta is not a religion with a closed meaning. It is a practical and a very, very profound way of living, and it is a way of living that may lead you to self-knowledge or moksha, which means self-realization. So instead of believing that you are a samsari, a wanting, a needing, a helpless person, individual, ego, or jivatman, Advaita Vedanta has the power to show you and to lead you to the recognition and permanent conviction that you have never been a person, an individual, a jivatman, an ego, or a soul. But what you where always, and what you will be always and forever, from time immemorial or beginningless time, is infinite, impersonal consciousness awareness. So your real self is not a personal self. Your real self is impersonal consciousness awareness. The entire universe, the infinite numbers of beings, apparent objects, are just modulations or fluctuations in you consciousness. So if we could say that you are an ocean, all that you see as waves in the ocean are just modifications or fluctuations or modulations of you, the consciousness ocean, the ocean of consciousness, or the water of the ocean. So we perceive waves in the ocean. We say these are different waves, but in reality, the waves are just the same water appearing as different waves. With the same way, we can explain with the ornaments or the jewelry of gold. If we take a gold jewelry, in reality, if we say this is a ring, in reality, the ring is not anything else except gold. But we give it the name and form ring. We use this label or this concept of that this is a ring. But in reality, the ring is only a label. In reality, the ring is only gold. And the existence of the ring is only the goldness of the ring. There is no ringness in the ring. Allow me this playing with the words. So there is no ringness, there is no such thing as ringness. There is such thing as goldness, as gold. But the ring does not exist. The gold does exist. So we give it names and forms to everything in the universe, and we believe gradually that all these apparent things have inherent existence. But in reality, everything appears and disappears in ourselves, in our consciousness, just like us in the dream in the night. We may have a dream that we are traveling somewhere, let's say New York. We walk in the streets, we are experiencing people, we are experiencing the appearance of cars. We may be there with a friend, we may enter a restaurant, we may have dinner, and suddenly we wake up and we realize that the New York, ourselves as the character who was interacting in the dream, and the friends and the cars and the buildings and everything, was just modulations or modifications in our own consciousness. So it is the same with what we call the waking life or the waking state. It is not anything else than dream. That's why in Advaita Vedanta we call it mithya, which means vyavaharika truth, lower level of truth, or not really existence, but apparent existence. Existence which is borrowing existence from consciousness, from our true self. Our true self is Paramarthika, which means the absolute truth, the unchanging truth, the permanent truth of Brahman consciousness awareness. So I think I'm going a little bit more deeper. So I will do a break and ask you to ask any question or to, if you want any clarifications or any doubts. Okay, I can continue. So we have in Advaita Vedanta different kind of scriptures of Sastram, where we can use them for going deeper and deeper in our understanding and in our self-realization process. Gradually, sooner or later, we have to stop being or believing that we are a permanent person or a jivatman or an ego or an individual. Why? Because we will experience infinite suffering and infinite negative emotions. The body has infinite limitations, and the mind has also infinite limitations. And the personality that we believe that we are have also infinite limitations. That's why if somebody is speaking about us and gossiping about us, we feel irritated and we become angry. Why? Because we believe that we are this personality where somebody else is criticizing. Likewise, when we are experiencing a sickness in the body, again we are feeling suffering, limitation, and different kind of negative emotions. The same with the mind. The mind have also infinite limitations. So is it possible, by believing that we are a body-mind complex or a personality or a small, tiny self in a so huge universe, is it possible to have infinite and permanent happiness, peace, and bliss? I think no. So, as I said before, the solution is to find out what is this that we call myself. What I mean when I say myself. What is this self actually? Is it this bundle of bones and flesh, what I call myself? Is the mind what I call myself? Is this the brain, this tiny fleshy thing in the skull, that it is myself? I have to find out. Because if I don't find out, then I'm doomed to all kinds of different negative emotions and suffering. So how to find security, let's say, and feel security in a permanent basis, if I am a dependent, helpless human being? A human being who is dependent on Jagat, or to humanity, or to the world, to the universe, or to my relationships, or to my boss and my career, or to my relationship with my husband or my wife. If I am dependent in anything of this world for permanent security, happiness, bliss, and peace, then I'm just in delusion. I'm just making myself more and more in a trap. I put myself in a cell, and giving the responsibility to others or to so-called the God to give me what I need. So it is like I want to live forever inside a hospital in order, in case I will be sick, to receive quickly medicine help, or help from doctors, or any kind of help that I need. So a samsari, a wanting person, a needing person, a helpless person, is the one like this example, the one who wants to live permanently inside the security of a hospital. So even the dependence from God has to be overcome at a mature spiritual level. We start, a common human being is, of course, is starting from being dependent from the society, from others, and from the world, and gradually can become mature spiritually and be dependent from God, and gradually has to be dependent only from his true self, his infinite self, as awareness Brahman. Otherwise, he will be doomed to be always in this dualistic approach that I, myself, I'm a tiny human being, I'm a tiny jivatman, a soul, a person, an ego, an individual. And somewhere out there, out of me, there is something that I call God, who can give me what I need, who can give me the security that I need, who can give me the objects that I need, or the health that I need, or the relationship that I need, and so on and so forth. So imagine staying on this dependency from God or from the world. You are putting yourself in so big limitation, so huge limitation, that it is impossible to be free. That's why for Advaita Vedanta, the goal is first of all moksha, and then even not moksha. So we have the four purusharthams, we have the four goals in life according to Sanatana Dharma. We have the goal of kama, which is desire and the need to fulfill my desires. We have the second purusharthama, which is the goal of artha, which means the desire to accumulate wealth and everything that I need. And then we have dharma, that we need to work, live, and move in this life according to the laws of dharma. And we have the fourth one goal, which is moksha, self-realization, freedom. But sooner or later, we can realize that even moksha, even the desire of moksha, which is the highest desire and the highest need of the most mature spiritual seeker, have to be overcome. And how is that? Because moksha exists as long as you believe that you are a jivatman, an individual, a human being, an ego. As soon as you realize, as soon as you discover that your true nature have never been an individual, but it was always infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman, then where is the need of moksha? So moksha appears as a desire for the ajnanis in reality, for those who have ignorance and live in darkness. Even this, the highest goal of human life, which is moksha, has to be overcome. Because simply, we have never been in bondage, in slavery. It is only an illusory bondage. It's only an illusory slavery. It never happened and will never happen. Our true nature is nitya mukta, always and forever free, always the only enlightened one, Brahman awareness. This is what we are. And even if we say we is wrong, because there is no such thing as we. There is no any kind of plurality. There is only the uniqueness of Brahman awareness, consciousness. Nothing else exists. The entire meaning and the core meaning of Vedanta, Upanishads, and of course Advaita Vedanta, is that there is only Brahman awareness consciousness. And this is your true nature. So let's say for one more break to check if you want to ask something, to add something, or to clarify something.
Rajiv.
Yes, I wanted to ask this question, because this is at times very confusing. In a way, it sounds a wonderful idea that we are not an individual, that it may be a dream that we are living in. But how is it possible to shed our individuality totally? Because if we are to start behaving like a non-individual, we will not be able to do our work, lead our life with other physical beings that constitute our family, our friends, our society. We have certain responsibilities towards them. How will we take care of them by living like a non-individual, as if we do not have an ego, or we are like, as you say, sansari, so we are a non-sansari?
So that is a very, very important question and a topic. But in reality, that it is very difficult does not mean that we should not find out that in truth, we have never been an individual. We have never been a jivatman. Now, the Shastram, the scriptures, have never said that, have never say or convey that you have to abandon your dharmic duties as a family person, as an employee or an employer, or any duties that you have according to your varnasrama or whatever. On the contrary, for the teachings, for the Sanatana Dharma in general, the instructions are that you continue to follow and to fulfilling your duties, but at the same time, you have to find a way to offer some time in the scriptural studying the Shastram, under the guidance of a competent guru in a holy and living Guru Parampara, holy lineage. So nobody said that this need to find out the truth about your true nature, that you are not an individual, said that it is something easy. On the contrary, it is mentioned that you may need many janmas or many lifetimes. Why? Simply because for millions of lifetimes, you believe that you are an individual. For millions of dream lifetimes, you are sure and you have this conviction that you are an individual, that you are a Jivatman. How you can change that in one lifetime? It is completely difficult and very, very serious problem. That doesn't mean that you should not do it. When something is difficult, it doesn't mean that we should abandon that effort. So, of course it is difficult, of course it is not easy at all, but that doesn't mean that we have to do something else. There is no other way. The only way is, along with fulfilling our duties, to try to find enough time to go under the guidance of a guru in a living, holy Guru Parampara, study the scriptures, doing sadhana, spiritual practice, and fulfilling the highest goal of life, which is moksha. Now, as we are fulfilling our duties, it has to be under the regulation of Dharma, of the Dharmic rules, how are prescribed in Sanatana Dharma Sastram. So we go to the work, we go to the office or whatever is our work or duties, but we try to follow the Dharmic rules. At the same time, we try to find 1 hour every day minimum to dedicate in self-knowledge and scriptural study and spiritual practice, sadhana. There is no other way.
Okay, Avinash?
Yeah. Namaste, Acharya. So when you were mentioning about the moksha, the concept of moksha, so there is this generic idea or colloquial idea about moksha as not having the rebirth again in the future. So the another meaning of which we can derive by scriptures, other thing is moksha is to attain the self-realization and getting the freedom from the bounds of ignorance or maya. What we call as vastava, or according to you, how do you put across the perspective about moksha? So is it not having the rebirth or having the enlightenment? Thank you.
So moksha is the highest goal of a human life. According to Sanatana Dharma, it is the highest goal. But moksha exists only for an ajnani, not a jnani, not a self-realized one. Why? Because moksha appears at a mature spiritual understanding that I have never been someone in the first place. What means moksha? It means that I see now I'm completely recognizing and I'm completely convinced that I have never been an individual, I have never been a Jivatman, and I have been always and forever Brahman, consciousness, awareness. That is moksha. Moksha is not something that you create anew. Self-realization, enlightenment is not something that you are creating anew, that you can attain. Moksha, self-realization, enlightenment is just a permanent recognition and conviction that what I was always and forever and what I will be always and forever is Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. I am of the nature of Brahman. My nature is Brahman. I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham, I am Brahman. So, moksha is something that it is also in the level of mithya. It is also part of the dream. When you awake, when you are on the level of awakening, you realize that what we call moksha is also part of the dream. Then you laugh because you say to yourself, not to the ajnanis, not to those who are not jnanis, self-realized, you laugh and you say to yourself, I'm not somebody who is now self-realized. I have never been somebody. I was always and I will always be infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman. So moksha is also in the level of mithya, vyavaharika, level of understanding. It's not paramarthika. That's why in the most advanced scriptures like Astavakra Gita, Avadhuta Gita, and Ripu Gita, we can see that in reality there is no such thing as moksha. It is only in the level of the dream vyavaharika level. Just like in the deep sleep, you cannot see somebody or universe, but there is only pure consciousness there without movement, without the thinking process, and there is only blankness, nothingness. The same with when you are in the level of deep understanding, in the level of self-realization. You recognize that whatever appears and disappears is only illusory, is only a show that lasts 3 to 5 days, as Astavakra is saying to Janaka in Astavakra Gita. So in the first place, there is nobody, and secondly, who to attain moksha, if in the first place there is nobody? Well, if you believe that you are somebody, then you need to follow a process for moksha. You see what I mean? Since you believe that you are somebody and you cannot see otherwise, since you believe that you are an individual, a jivatman, living in an external universe as a separate being, you need a spiritual path, a holy tradition, living Guru Parampara. You need what we call an external guru, and you need scriptural study, sastra, and you need spiritual practice, sadhana, and so on and so forth. Upon understanding and finding out that what is your true nature as infinite Brahman, all these things losing their meaning. Let me know if you need more clarification.
No, that was very comprehensive, Acharya. Thank you so much.
I have a question. I'm Shaman.
Yes, go ahead.
Are there any physical processes that makes us automatically get tuned to Advaita philosophy?
Can you repeat, please, because the sound was not so good?
Are there any physical processes which makes us readily get into Advaita philosophy? Like
Yes, of course.
Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga. You know, one of them is Ashtanga Yoga.
Yes, of course, of course. All the practices, all the spiritual practices or sadhanas are meant for citta suddhi, purification of the mind, preparation of the mind to come at the level of a spiritual maturity to enter jnanam. There is no other way than to purify the mind and being prepared for the high and profound teachings of Jnanam, of Advaita Vedanta. So all these systems of preparation of sadhanas, like the 8-leaf yoga of Patanjali, or other systems of spiritual sadhana, are very beneficial as preparation and as citta suddhi, purification of the mind. At a certain mature level, of course, we don't need any more the preparatory practices, the preparatory sadhanas, and we can enter the highest and the most profound spiritual path, which is Jnana Yoga, Advaita Vedanta.
Sure. All right. Okay. Mm.
Anybody else?
Hello, Swamiji. This is Amit. Yeah, I just have one doubt. So I have read that we have already lived this life many times, and it is going, and we are going to live this time, the moment that we are discussing. We have already lived this moment, right? And we are going to live this moment in future as well, maybe billions of years ago. So is it true?
Yes, first of all, the time and the space are only conceptual, mental. They are only in the level of nama rupa. They are on the level of vyavaharika, not absolute truth, but relative truth. So to speak about time and space and about anything that appears and disappears in time-space continuum is on the level of Maya, of Mithya. Of course, we know from the scriptural study, we know that Brahmaji have the day and the night. We have pralayam, we have the manifestation, projection of the universe, and then we have universe in a dormant state. But we should focus not in the apparent things or the apparent universe, the apparent beings, and the apparent objects. If we really want jnanam, if we really want moksha, self-realization, enlightenment, we should focus on the scriptures and the practices and the guidance of a Satguru, of a true Guru, who can lead us to the profound discovery, to the profound understanding, recognition, and permanent conviction of our true nature as Brahman, as infinite consciousness, awareness.
So I just wanted to ask, if suppose we are going to do the same actions, so how do we get the moksha? How you will get the moksha if you are going to perform the same actions again and again? So when we will get out of this cycle?
Yes, but the one who is asking do not exist. The one who is asking this question do not exist as an individual. For example, would you ask this question in the deep sleep without dreams? Is anybody there to ask this question? So of course, I don't say to insult you. I just try to guide you and to show you the state of deep sleep without dreams as an example, because there it is very obvious that there is nobody in the first place. There is something, in inverted commas, in the deep sleep without dreams, but this something, in inverted commas, is not an individual or a jivatman. We are there observing blankness, nothingness, and we can see the karana sariram, the subtle body, but in truth, we are not even this sunyatam, emptiness, blankness, but we are the revealer of this sunyatam, emptiness, nothingness, blankness, which is infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman. So, of course, by trying to find out if somebody, by performing the same actions, can find liberation or moksha, it is not a correct question, because in the first place, there is nobody. In the first place, there are no beings. There is no individual. There is nobody in the first place. There are apparent beings, but in reality, there is only beingness, Sat, Satyam, beingness, Brahman. And this beingness, through the power of Maya, the projective power of Maya, is projecting the dream universe, the dream beings, the dream individuals, and the dream objects. But that doesn't mean that there is such thing as somebody attaining moksha. There is no such thing. But according to what I said before, if you believe that you are somebody, then you must find the path and try to attain moksha. But the funny thing is that when you attain moksha, you realize that in the first place, you were never somebody who now attained moksha. I don't know if you can grasp that. Because it's not so easy.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Anybody in inverted commas, of course.
Avinash.
Yeah. So it was interesting when you mentioned about like the three states, the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, the awake, dream and deep sleep. So after waking up from the deep sleep, we realize that we don't know anything. You know, the only realization that we have is we woke up from a deep sleep. That's it. We don't know what happened, how the time elapsed. Time in inverted commas, as you say, right? So how it elapsed and everything. So I'm just trying to draw an inference from this, but I might be very wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So when we are in a state of deep sleep, we blend into the the Satchitananda, what you say, like the supreme consciousness. I mean, we blend into everything, and we don't feel that this is me. But is the awake state or the dream state is the reason for the ahankara, that I am this body?
Well, ahankara is not existent in the first place. It is an illusion of apparent ahankara. So it is only the identification of consciousness with one of the characters in the Maya, in the dream. So it is like you are dreaming in the night, and let's say you see that you are Napoleon in your dream, and you identify and you believe that you are Napoleon. That doesn't mean that you are really Napoleon. Upon waking up, you realize that no, you believed that you were Napoleon in your dream state, but now you know that you are not Napoleon. But while in dreaming, the experience was vivid and very true. And everybody was calling you Napoleon and offering to you a great respect. So, as my Guruji Swami Paramarthananda saying, the dreamer don't understand that he is a dreamer while in the dream. Exactly. So, you believe that the dream phenomena and experiences are completely real and vivid, and you are having all the apparent indications that it is something real. You have experienceability, you are experiencing things, you have utility in the dream. That means that if you are thirsty in the dream and somebody will offer you a dream glass of water, you can stop having thirst. Then you have also transactability. You are doing transactions with other apparent beings in the dream. Now, these three things, these three characteristics or features are giving you the impression that everything in the dream is completely real. Upon waking up, you realize that although there was transactability, experienceability, and utility, no matter that, you realize that it was fake. It was not real. The same with what we call the waking state. It is also a dream. It is also a projection. But again, we fall into the trap again because of these three things, which are, again, transactability, utility, and experienceability. But we must focus on the screen of consciousness, on the background that we are, the revealer that we are, and the consciousness that we are, the screen where everything appears and disappears. You know, everything, if you look at it closely, everything appears and disappears. There is emotions appearing and disappearing. Thinking, thoughts appearing and disappearing. Relationships appearing and disappearing. Phenomena appearing and disappearing. Sensations appearing and disappearing. Perceptions appearing and disappearing. Where do they appear and disappear? They do appear and disappear in you, in consciousness. The entire universe appearing and disappearing in you, consciousness, in you, the screen of consciousness. And although all these things are appearing and disappearing, you, the background of consciousness, remaining always unattached, unaffected, and always changeless. So you have to be something, your real self, what you call myself, have to be something that does not appear and disappear, but it is always the same permanent principle. Because the somebody that you may believe that you are, in the deep sleep without dreams, disappears. So how you can be somebody who every night in the deep sleep without dreams disappears together with what we call the external universe and all the rest of the apparent beings and the apparent objects. Although what is there in the deep sleep without dreams, revealing the emptiness, the blankness, the nothingness of the deep sleep is always the same. And that is what we call in Advaita Vedanta Turiyam, according to Mandukya Upanishad. So our true nature is that state which is beyond any kind of state, which is the background where the rest of the three states appearing and disappearing.
Just a small follow-up question, Acharya. So sometimes there are dreams where we get indications, about the future, or some things to do, or some incidents that's going to happen, or anything. I myself have experienced that. So there is this incident with one of the acharyas of Sringeri, His Highness Satchitananda Shivabhinavan Nrsimha Bharati, wherein the mother of Shankaracharya came in his dream, and that's how he was able to identify Kalati as the birth, or exact birthplace of Shankaracharya in the Kalati, and that's what led him to install the Sharada Pitam there in the Kalati. So how can we just give the label that dreams are fake right away? Because there are dreams wherein we can it can give us directions towards something, right? So this is a doubt I have.
Yes, this what we call apocalyptic dreams or visions are not real in the category of the dream state. They are messages from our higher self or consciousness, our true nature, and they are not really a dream. They are another category, what we call a vision or an apocalypse, from an apocalyptic vision from our true self. And of course, these kind of visions are very useful most of the times for our spiritual progress. And also, even in the worldly situations, sometimes we may have messages in our dream state where we receive guidance or instructions how to deal or how to solve daily problems or serious problems in our lives. This, of course, is not useless as the usual dreams. But again, even what we call the useless dreams or dreams which are just repetitive or without any meaning also are useful. In which sense? In the sense that in the dream state, the body-mind complex is able to exhaust any kind of tensions and accumulations of tensions and problems and sufferings from the last period of life, and especially the last day and the last days. So even the simple dreams are very useful because it is a way of a mechanism of exhausting tension and negative energy that has been accumulated in the body-mind complex.
Thank you, Acharya.
Anybody else? So I think it is enough for today. Who would like to give us a closing mantra to close our Satsanga for today? And everybody is most welcome to participate in our WhatsApp group and Telegram group, where you can know each other better and where you can also post questions or doubts or clarifications that we can deal in our future satsangas. But for now, who would like to offer a closing mantra?
Purnamatah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om